It is Thursday, sometime after milking, after second breakfast, and before I go to work on the container. I'm out walking the dogs, and of course, someone's coming. Customer. All right. This is not convenient. Hey, pups, come on. All right. Dog walk curtailed. Now that I've done dealing with the commercial account, I can get to work on the boiler system. It's warm today. It's 40 degrees. Notice no heavy winter gear on, and it's sunny and gorgeous and no wind, and I am going to work on running the PEX line of fresh water to the boiler house, which means I'm going to need a headlamp. I am going to use this available cold water line and swap this PEX line to there. But yeah, because I can go right here. Here I already run the 3/4 inch PEX out to the boiler. So I can just attach these two things, energize that, turn this piping off, cut it, and then salvage the rest of the 1/2 inch PEX, pull it out outside, and then that will go inside the trailer to a hose bib on the outside of the trailer, which will then feed the barn, just like it is now, but rerouted. So that's my goal to get done today, at the very least. Also, while it's warm and sunny outside, I'm going to cut some plywood to go here and here so that I can mount the heating system that goes in that corner anyway, but I want to mount it a little bit more permanently, even though this whole room is temporary at this point, because it's going to be completely refashioned. It's just outside the bulk tank, and so this is going to be the room to wash, and we're going to try and centralize the washing area, and so we can have a fridge to keep medicines in here. It'll be heated. It'll be a lot nicer than it is now, but also the washroom just outside the milk bulk tank room. We can store the dairy filters and everything in here. So that's where we're headed with this space. But the first thing is to redo, make it so I can get the heating. This is the heating circuit. It takes off here to go and feeds the heater, the radiator in the tank room, and then the radiant floor in the creamery. So I need to get this piece of plywood up so I can get that stuff, start to mount it back for when the heating system is ready to be primed with water. And I'm also running this inch PEX line came up the stairs, was there down below but there are no stairs. It's just a hole in the floor. Because I need to do some work below. But this PEX was run up that opening and has been here for 3 or 4 years, just like it is now, looped into this corner running the creamery system. But I want to bring it up from below and not have it hanging out here in our way, and get it tucked in this corner nicer. So that's a possibility for today, but also I'll be working on that tomorrow. Well, I should be getting deliveries tomorrow, Friday, of the stuff that I just ordered that I'm missing down below that I need. And I got the better quality pipe dope and the better quality pipe tape coming. So I have some work down there that I can be doing if I get this other stuff done. All right, I've swung the container door open so that when I have a hose bib mounted on the side here, if I have to open that to load firewood and stuff, it's not going to interfere with anything. And I've drilled a hole through to identify it on the inside. Now I will drill a hole large enough to accommodate a 1/2 inch PEX pipe, and then I've got to stub it out to over here. There is where it comes in from outside, and I've got to go all the way down there with a piece of 1/2 inch PEX tacked, strapped to the side of the container. That will carry the water to the barn for now. I mean, eventually the barn, when we do the parlor, will have proper water. But that'll get us this far. That's what we've been watering the cows on so far. And we'll get that done. And back to the way it is, I'm just going to use this little PEX thing that I already had. I'm going to stub that through the wall and then connect it on this inside. I don't have a 90. I thought I had a 1/2 inch 90. But for today, I'm just going to loop the PEX out and use a quick coupling, because then I can always fix it later on when I get that 1/2 inch elbow. But I need to get this going today now, because not only do I need, well, let's see, not only do I need the water in here for, soon for filling things, but I need to do that, and I need to get the 1/2 inch PEX line up in the barn that's already connected, that feeds the barn, that feeds the trough in the cow barn, is in the wrong spot, and it's holding up a lot of stuff. And if I can get that out of the way, then I can get the rest of the PEX line out from there and start moving towards putting in the heating lines back, the 1 inch PEX. And so if I can get all that orchestrated today, that sets me ahead for later. And also, just this needs to be done. Yeah. Well, that didn't quite go to plan. The hex self-tapping screws that I wanted to use didn't go all the way in, but that is held firm. So that's got that side done. And I can put, let's see, how do I want to do this? I guess I'll move the hose over there now. Maybe I should turn the water off first. Let me get this. All right, shark fitting stuck on there, and I'll just come along here and loop out and in there with the other piece until I can get a 90. But let's see, I think it's there. I could reroute the hose bib now, but that means I've turned that off. So if I'm going to go over there to turn that off and undo that, I should really go up and turn the water off in the barn. Actually, let's just go, I'll go make the barn connection and undo the barn connection. I don't want to do that. Either way, I'm going to have to go up to the barn twice. I'm trying to avoid walking out to where the hose is attached now more than once, but I think I'm going to have to go twice. It's just because it's so slippery over there. All right, up to the barn. All right, I've made my connection to the new line there. That line goes out to the shipping container. I will energize that next. I will de-energize this other line, and then I'll go down and drain that line and move the hose. Check for leaks on the line in the check for leaks on the hose to the container. Now here is the master control panel. This is called a mana block. It's basically like a circuit breaker for water. And it was kind of smart that I put this in when I put it in. All right, let's see. That is future, and that is off. That's the second future, and that is on. So, stop running. I see no leaks or drips up here. Let's head down to the container and in the container.
See what we got.
And I don't have anything to contain water with, but we're gonna. Yes, we have air. So that means there's pressure behind that. That's perfect. I'm gonna leave that volume of air trapped in here so that there's no water down here that could possibly freeze. In the next few days, it's gonna be above freezing at night, but let's go ahead and turn on this heater here. Here's where I'll connect that other PEX line, which I can now go drain. And this is going nicely. And it's unbelievable how a little sunshine can really just lift your spirits this time of year. All this light, all this blue sky just really has me energized today, because it's been pretty dang wet, snowy, dreary, rainy, bitter cold for the last few days. All right, so I'm gonna reroute both the hose, hi Astrid, hose to the cows and drain this PEX line. So yeah, basically this has been stubbed out here for several years. since we moved the heating hut from where it had been against the parlor. The hose to the trough is just long enough. Good thing I didn't move the hose bib up the trailer any. I would have been scrambling for a short length of hose. All right, back up to the barn to cut the tie to the other pipe and get it fished out of there and connected to make this work before the cows drink that little trough dry. I want to make sure that's all up and going relatively quickly so the cows don't go without water. I am down under the barn pulling this elephant trunk line of heating, fresh water, and electricity out that served the barn from the previous 2 instances of the boiler for the last 3 years. It does not want to come easy. So I should be getting close though. Then I'm going to reroute this whole thing and redo it in another location. Still probably not how it's going to be permanently, but it'll be good enough for the next 10 years, which is how temporary sort of lasts around here. Let's hope. All right, well, I managed to get about 20 feet of this pulled outside of the barn, but it's hung up back in there, so I had to crawl back under there again. This is, the foil line section was what has been suspended underneath the barn. It's multiple layers of insulation, and I figured as long as the water's kept moving with the pump, it's worked really good and kept the water plenty hot because it's coming out of the boiler at 190 and only need 120 up there. So any heat loss for the moment is acceptable because it just is what it is. Now, eventually when the parlor is overhead here and this will all be inside and we can set about insulating spaces in the barn better and have some heated areas in the barn, it'd be really nice to have a heated wood shop. So that is the plan. And then the section out here where it transfers from the foil wrapped to the corrugated drain tile, that was used to be buried until that fateful day when it blew up underneath the ground and we had to bypass it. But again, that had lasted 2 years. It was just that weird wind and the overfiring day. All right, I have it out. There's our 1/2-inch line that we're after rescuing. And then I've got the 2-inch PEX lines and the extra power cord. I'm going to take off the bubble wrap because I want to reuse that to insulate that little space there. Fortunately, the distance from where the boiler is all the way out across and up in is less than half the distance that this pipe used to run. So I think it used to be 100 feet there and back, so I used 200 feet of pipe. So hopefully I'm only using 100, and because it's about 30 there across, and then it's about 15 up, and that's 45, and about, well, let's say 10 up and about 10 in. So there's our 50 feet. That'd be a lot easier to maintain, a lot shorter distance, so less heat loss. So let's, and I'm also trying to bring it up more intelligently into the barn. So I've got better insulation protection for this until the barn is heated. So this, as I unpeel this, I'm seeing several spots like this where the foam is fused to the PEX and it's deteriorated, so it wasn't actually doing any good. I think that comes from that day that the boiler overheated and way hot water was pushed up first and then steam. Yeah, we have a boiler protection circuit. In fact, there's 2 on this boiler. I'm going to hook up the American version so if the power goes out, but I have to find the right valve. The boiler has a port on it and 2 pipes. So you plumb those pipes to fresh water, cold water, and you put this valve on that's thermostatically controlled. So if the boiler overheats and gets above, say, 210 degrees, it starts flushing cold water through that and cools the actual body of the boiler down. Well, you can get a valve like that here The one that they recommend for use with the boiler actually ties into the boiler controls, and I think it's a Danish one. So I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait till tariffs disappear before I start ordering foreign parts like that, because at best it's a $300 valve, and that's without tariffs. So I want to, I'm happy to buy that to protect the boiler, to protect the plumbing and the pipes, but I want to be smart about it. And meanwhile, because of how we're going to be using this boiler, and because I'm going to be putting a battery pack backup, so if in case the power goes out and the boiler is firing, 2 of the pumps will still be running because they're low wattage and I can run them off a battery pack for hours. So I'm going to have that in place. And then because of hot water storage tanks, I won't be firing the boiler continuously all day long every day, and certainly not 24 hours a day, as was the case last year. So pretty much. So I'll be able to fire up, store the water, store the energy in those hot water storage tanks. The boiler will shut off, and then we'll draw off those tanks until it gets to a low enough temperature to be bothered to be refiring the boiler. So that's the idea. That's how it's supposed to work. And so hopefully I'm only going to be doing 8-hour burns every day at the most, and I can control that. I can do that during the day while we're around. And on those days, and then certainly when the weather's like this, I could skip a day because there should be plenty of hot water stored in those tanks, insulated. And I don't have to burn it on a day that's warm and there's barely any heating load. So that's the whole point of the system, be way more efficient and to burn it less and burn it more efficiently. So I should never have to deal with exploded PEX. And yes, I know it's not a great idea to be running electrical wire with your hot water, but I did run it on the outside of the pipe insulation. This was running outside in a much colder, circumstance, and the pipe was running only at about 140 maximum. So it's also on the lower end of the spectrum. Again, not ideal, but it works given all those circumstances. So I've just finished mounting that temporarily, of course, and getting it stubbed in there with the SharkBite Quick Connect fitting. And now I'm going to come over here and turn on said, let's see if I can turn this on. Just gonna let that run free for a minute or two. Close that off. Tighten that. All right, that's dripping. I hear it energizing out there. And of course, the cows have drunk that almost dry, so I wasn't a minute too soon. Seems like we're filling the trough right there. We'll give that a few minutes. I don't see any leaks anywhere along the system. And that's way too unruly. I will, next time I have a vehicle and I'm in the feed store, I'll get the crimp elbow that goes on there. And that will be one less headache. Now I have fresh water down here. That'll run, that'll drip, that'll keep from freezing. All a matter of what happens when I tee in and get me into here. Now it's with the door open and the heater on. Hiccups. Now with the door open and the heater on, it's 42 in here today, so that's good. I may, at the end of the day, with the door closed, find this heater's got an automatic thermostat. I may turn it so that it's not actually running, but give it the lowest setting just so it keeps this place above freezing. Just to be sure, because I don't need frozen pipes. And that is the problem with doing this work at this time of year. All right, that is accomplishment number 1. Rerouted this, and I also tackled part of accomplishment number 2, which is getting that old PEX out of there and getting set to run it where it needs to go. Now, I did realize, okay, here's my cutter. I have to trim the PEX that goes back up into the barn. It is plenty long, trimmers, plenty long to do what I need to do with it. So, all right, good. That's got a little bit of a drip there. I think that's just from a leaky garden hose gasket. So that's good. We filled up the water. Yep, water trough is full up. Luna's availing herself of the ample water service. So now I am going to try and move this PEX line to closer to where it needs to go. One thing they failed to mention in Plumbing 101 is when you've got two monkey wrenches and you're opposing them and you're tightening something and you're going together like that, and they don't always bite tight, and one slipped and my left hand punched the larger monkey wrench in my right hand, and I wailed myself, cracked my knuckle really good. I thought I broke my finger. I had gloves on. That was days ago. And I keep banging that finger and slicing it open, and holy cats, not fun. So I've managed to get the PEX up under the barn, into the barn, up under and headed towards the holes through the floor, which it goes. I have literally 4 feet to go on 2 pipes. I cannot get it up and through those holes and fed. So I'm gonna have to call my neighbor or wait till Allison can help me. I'm sure with somebody down below pushing and someone just guiding the top of the PEX up through the awkward opening, once it's up, it'll slide right into place. Just need 2 people. I can't be in 2 places at once. So I'm going to go ahead and roll out the rest of the PEX and see if I can get it headed towards the container, knowing that I need to have at least 4 foot surplus going up and in. This will at least help it get straightened out. It is starting, the sun's starting to go down. I guess it's only 3 o'clock. Yeah. So we got a couple more hours of sunlight, but it is noticeably a little chillier. But then again, I've been sweating like crazy working under the barn. So I want to do what I can today. It's going to be even warmer tomorrow, but there's a chance of heavy rain. Maybe the rain isn't coming till later in the day. Anyway, I want to get what I can done today, and then I'll take care of the rest tomorrow. I'm happy with the progress I've made in that waterline run. That I was glad that I'm working. The other reason to run this PEX, this 1-inch PEX, is because I'm down here. The hose was leaking a little bit, but I managed to gain a few inches and take the strain off by breaking some ice and pulling it out from the ice there. And there is a leak at that coupling on the inside, just a couple drips. I've tightened it up once. We'll see. So I'll have to go get that elbow tomorrow when I have access to the car. Really good job putting this trunk together, because it's taken me a long time to get it pulled apart enough to rescue these 2 pieces of PEX. Now, I probably have enough new 1-inch PEX to run this, and I wouldn't be fighting this twisted mess, because obviously that twist has been locked in by heat. But I want to save that PEX for emergencies, and if this goes wrong, then I will run it again. But also, once again, this is temporary, so I don't want to burn up the new PEX when this should be fine. Now, I'm going to have to pull off this insulation as I feed it through the container. But I think I can get both these lines in there. Maybe actually, the tape is holding the 2 PEX together, so I may just leave it. I think there's enough room to snick everything together through that hole. I got plenty of length. Just a matter of getting it where it needs to be at both ends. It's so rare to have frost this time of year. You have trouble starting the machine, not this morning. It's only 20, I guess it's probably like 30 now. 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're gonna have a much warmer day today, and the snow's gonna melt. We're gonna get a lot of rain. That'll make tonight's chores fun. We'll see what happens. Well, it's Friday afternoon. I'm back in the boiler house, or whatever we're calling this place. There was a weird glitchy artifact there at the bottom of the screen. We're back in the boiler house Friday afternoon. I just got the FedEx delivery of some of the nipples I needed, the longer pieces, which annoyingly I just found locally. I could have gotten this as one long piece. Up at the farm supply place, there is a 60-inch piece of pipe, but I actually think it might be better to have it in two. I'm waiting for the coupling that I ordered from a different place to help bring up the order to free shipping status. So I ordered bits and pieces from two different places because I needed something that only each place had. But I also got more pipe dope and lots more pipe tape. So hopefully I am now set to be able to finish what I got here. I also went to the feed store and I bought some all thread rods so I can get my ceiling supports up. And I want to get that tackled and done sooner than later before I can actually continue anywhere else. I want to get this supported. So that's my next task. I have absolutely zero ambition today. I spent yesterday getting all the outdoor stuff that I could done. And I got a bunch of farm stuff I still have to do this afternoon, preferably before it gets too dark. So I'll break off around 4:30 to start that. I did also pick up an elbow at the feed store to repair that, but I'm not feeling like doing that right now. I also picked out some bits and pieces that I was not intending to because I think I've reworked how I'm going to run the 1-inch PEX line up to the barn and how it needs to operate. So I've got to factor that in and start working on that. I also couldn't find a couple of 1-inch PEX connections that I need at the feed store. So I'm hoping that I have them here in as spares in some regard. Like I know there's a couple T's there, but that's not what I'm looking for. But I might as well put that with this other partial set of PEX things. I'll have to hunt through. I know there are some couplings here that I will need, that I should have ordered with all this stuff I just got delivered, but I wasn't thinking through. I know I have them. I know they're here somewhere. Yeah, I'll have to get those, and I'll need them up there in the barn. Well, I'm fixing to reuse a section of the old PEX that ran underground as the 2-3 safety 30 PSI blow-off boiler safety valve. There's one going out there. I've got to finish attaching it. And each of the hot water heaters gets a line just in case it overheats, overpressurizes, it blows it off to the floor safely. So I'm going to reuse this PEX because it's not under regular use. And this is the section that was buried underground that was damaged, but I had no idea. Check out that split. That is pretty amazing when that blew. And it fused the two pieces of PEX together in the line. Well, they were taped together and insulated, but it bonded the insulation and the PEX together. Curious. I wouldn't use that or any of this chunk, probably 10 feet of this, for regular under pressure PEX line, but for this emergency overflow, barely once in a lifetime kind of thing, because it shouldn't ever regularly trip that. I may trip it when I'm firing up the system and I'm getting it going. I may trip those safety valves, overpressurize the system a little bit and trip them just to make sure, A, to make sure they work, B, to flush some water down these lines, make sure the valves are clear, and also just to check how fast the pressure comes down in the overall system. But otherwise, Under normal circumstances, normal operation, they would almost never be used. And I know a lot of people would plumb them with hard lines, and it would be nice, and my ADHD would say, yes, so let's route some nice, clean lines and keep it all nice and flowy. But no, I need to save money, so I'm going to reuse this PEX. Save money and time. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this and see if I can't get it fit in there. Now, there's a little problem is that this is stiff, probably from being heated and then cooling in a nice straight position. If I wanted a piece of straight pipe, you couldn't do worse than this, but I need it to bend. So hopefully that will happen. I know a lot of times I'm down here and I feel like I'm spinning my wheels and not accomplishing anything. But a lot of times I know that I'm making small progress. And any progress is forward progress and getting us closer to our destination, whether it actually feels like I'm accomplishing anything or not. To that end, I am not getting anything really big done today. I did put these fittings on. I found out that I need to get a heat gun or something to help bend the PEX that I was just talking about. Yeah, I don't feel like at this late stage in the day when I still got farm stuff to do, starting to tackle putting in pipe, because that leads to other things. So I'm trying to find a lot of small things that I can just kind of tackle that advance and move us forward without really, I don't want to do stuff that gets in the way. So I had I not gotten the parts today, or if I'd worked on it the other day when I didn't work on it, I was going to put on the 2 control boxes. But now that I got this PEX in here, I want to get that fit before I put the control boxes. I want to get this PEX mounted because I don't want to put these plastic boxes on here and knock into them and break one. So I'm going to wait until last minute again on that, like I was going to. So I'm just today, because I don't want to work on the piping, I'm just going to tackle some of these little things like tightening these flange nuts. I had to get this size wrench because for some reason in all my wrenches I did not have an 11/16. That's annoying, knocking parts off the top of this thing. Let's see. There we go. I hope that once these water heaters are all connected and full of water, they are less tippy, because doesn't take much to rock them. But yeah, so I had to wait till the mail came today. I would have gotten this. I was going to go to Harbor Freight and get this wrench, but it turned out I ended up close by there today. I could have just gotten it, but I ordered this one online, so it will be here. And now I have it for all of these connections down here, because it's not, dang it. There's just I didn't bring a clamp or anything for the camera, so there's nowhere good to put you. So yeah, I'll just, this wrench will be part of the boiler room now. So it's just here, and I don't have to go fussing. I know in the past, and I don't quite know why it's not working right now. In the past, I've used sockets on these, but maybe because of how close I have the valve, the socket wasn't fitting in there nicely. Those are tight. I still have to tighten that one, but I don't feel like bending one and standing on my head to do that. So now, the other thing I have to do is verify, now that I've tightened those, that the arrow is pointing down. Yep, so that's the flow of the pump is down into the tank. So that puts these controls upside down, so I just have to rotate those. So it's a matter of taking a Allen key and carefully loosening them and taking the screws out and then flipping the whole thing over and putting it back. And again, this is just, it doesn't have to be done now, but it can be done now, and it's just one less thing to stall me on a day when I want to be more productive. I'm probably just going to rotate these. Maybe if I put you over there on top of the furnace, the boiler, you can see what I'm doing. Flipping these over will help me anyway when I get to wiring them. Like I said, it's just one thing that I can do right now. I don't feel like doing much else. That's the inside of the hub, and there's the Venturi or whatever it's called. All right, so these can be positioned pretty much anywhere around the pump, except on this style, you're not supposed to put it like that because it interferes. But this will work with these controls sitting upright. Get this remounted, and then I'll do the other one.